recognize that being brilliant in a subject matter all by itself is just not good enough nowadays.
I would guess 50% of engineering effort is wasted on because of poor communication. To me, it's that inefficient.
We look for the basic programming skills and coding skills, which is needed for all engineers. But I think one of the distinguishing factors that we look for in someone who can really fit in Google is really communication skills and working in a team, or team working skills.
So when I'm interviewing a candidate, I always give them a problem to solve on the board. But I try to make it clear to them that most of the importance I'm placing is on how they describe what they're doing and their thought process step by step, so they can break down their thought process completely and expose it to me bit by bit.
You know, what's written down in paper is what gets you to the interview, but it's communication skills that kind of get you the job.
When we hire or when we interview students for opportunities, we certainly find that soft skills are extremely important for a technical position.
So the telltale signs for someone having strong communication skills in an interview, for me at least, is really observing how they tackle even simple problems. I'll give you a classic example. So I give someone a problem saying, here's an algorithm and you need to write the code on the board. 9 out of 10 folks might get the answer right, or they might get it wrong, but you'll find a few of those people actually taking the time out to explicitly state what they're going to do and how they're going to do it. So sort of verbalizing the approach before they start. At that point, they kind of pause and ask for feedback, saying, this is what I'm thinking. Does that make sense? And should I go ahead with it? Here are the pros, here are the cons. These are obvious telltale signs that the person is not just thinking aloud, but really asking for feedback and using that feedback as part of his output for the interview.
Communication is the only way to work if you want to get promoted. Nobody is going to go looking around down there, oh, look at that person down there. They don't communicate well, but I know they're brilliant. That just doesn't happen kind of thing,
The concept of collaboration at Google is given a lot of importance, especially in the engineering domain. A lot of people don't know this, but one of the goals that Larry and Sergey had when they thought of free lunches at Google was really that employees from different parts of the company would come and sit down at work, at lunch, and hopefully meet someone they hadn't met before. And within the half an hour or 45-minute lunch, talk about all the great ideas they have in their minds, and hopefully one of them blooms or blossoms into a full-fledged project. In fact, many projects have been born at the cafeterias at Google.
In a team engineering situation, you have to make sure that people understand what you're doing, why you're doing it, and how much time you're spending on it, and why.
I know plenty of examples of people who are in important jobs and in interesting jobs, right, that have got there because they're just solid, good communicators. They know how to listen and they know how to speak.
I think about every technical role that I've interacted with in different companies that I've worked in. They've all had some aspect of having to persuade or negotiate or try to request more hardware or some aspect, or even request more funding to be able to continue development of 2.0. So in each case, they've had to be able to state their case.
The organizations that have a good collaborative environment are the ones that are the strongest.
It's no longer just programming in a dark corner and all by yourself. Interconnected means you're teaming with others, you are interacting with others, you are negotiating to get that deal, you are trying to convince your boss you need that new server.
So you just, throw pizzas into a dark room and code comes out of it and everybody's happy kind of thing. But it's not as easy as that anymore, And the types of work that you're doing has to be, the type of projects and that you work on have to be value-added projects for the whole organization. And that means the business has to collaborate first to figure out, well, what's of value to us, right? Do we need brilliant software to help us do supply chain, like how to capture orders on the web how to communicate that to a distribution center or a factory, and then how to deliver that out to, how to deliver that product to the customer, so you can, order your iPod online on a Sunday night and it'll be at your doorstep on Tuesday morning, right? In order for that to happen, there's a lot of people have to do a lot of talking with each other.
Nowadays, the way I see it is that the most effective teams are the ones who collaborate well within the company, not just within their teams, but with other groups and other teams in the company as a whole. And there's a very good reason for that. In Google, we use this word called information overload. It's a very popular phrase. It's a very popular term. And it really means that there's so much of information out there that if you had to spend your time just sifting through that information alone, or even as a team, you probably would never get any work done. That's where the power of a network comes in. Because by reaching out to others in other groups and other teams who might have solved something similar, who might have seen the same problem before, you've basically cut through all the noise, and you've pretty much reached at least 3 or 4 viable solutions, out of which you can pick one. And the power of a network is when you receive something, you actually feel like giving back to it. And so at some point, some of these friends or these people in your network are going to reach out to you, and you would be more than happy to share your solutions with them. So that's where it's taken us to this date, as I see it. And you can only imagine with the growth of more social networks and the whole concept of the web being collaborative and sharing and user-generated sort of ideas and information, I see this becoming even more relevant, even more important going forward, especially when geography is no longer a barrier. So the best solution to your problem that you're working on may lie in the heads of a bunch of engineers who are thousands of miles away, maybe on a different continent.
I have development in India. I have my marketing perhaps in the U.S., and I may have some other test specialists working in Brazil, and they're continually working on the team together. So a good command of communication and understanding how to get your message across and truly communicate is necessary when you are working with different languages, different cultures, and new ways of this virtual teaming, these virtual projects.
I would actually suggest that before students begin to program, they have teamwork, so that when they think back on their education in their field, the first thing that comes to mind is not how to allocate a reference to memory, but how to work with people.
So you really are working with a number of different people with different personalities, with different styles, with different communication styles. So there's the dominant personality of someone who kind of leads a discussion. There's the timid person who doesn't voice the opinion but has great ideas. And so learning to adapt to these styles has a huge impact on the outcome of your project.
I think learning communication skills and presentation skills in college is a requirement. It is absolutely necessary for, especially now in these days when like corporations have got a lot of skills to choose from. And so they're going to be looking for those that have the broadest selection of skills and deep in their technology.
Where I think we can make improvement easily is in better listening skills and better writing skills.
Because there's no point in being a brilliant subject matter expert if you're not able to use that and communicate it and understand how it can be used.